Day three of Royal Ascot is ahead of us. Tom Collins here, joined by Ross Millar, as ever, for the latest SBK Daily Betting Podcast. This week, covering all of Royal Ascot 2025. I'm going to go straight in with the offers in this episode, just mixing it up a little bit. SBK is offering a 20% Racing's multiple boost every day this week. Minimum 4 legs to qualify for that. T's and C's apply. And there's also a 20% winnings boost on Thursday on the King George V Stakes at 3:05. Go to the app, the SBK app, of course, to take advantage of both of those offers and to check out the T's and C's if you're interested. Right, Ross, day three. Are you ready for more?
Ready for more, TC? Yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, Thursday begins with the Norfolk Stakes. A really good 2-year-old contest, this. I think it'll take a fair bit of winning. It looks like there's some depth in there, but also a lot of talent. Charles Darwin is your 7-4 favourite at the time of recording. This is on Tuesday, just after racing, so it may be a little bit different by the time you're watching this, but 7-4 at the time of recording. Naval Light, 3-1. He ran a good second on debut. Ross, do you think this is going to go the way of Aidan O'Brien with Charles Darwin? He hasn't won this race since 2017.
He hasn't, TC, and I do try really hard to look away from the front of the market, particularly to these juvenile races. I like Charles Darwin. He looked like a really big, strong, sprinting type. He's won over 5 furlongs. He's also won over 6. I like that because you're going to need to stay this trip. They will go hard. Looks like he's got loads of speed. Full brother to Blackbeard, who of course had plenty of speed. I think he's going to be very hard to beat. I'm sorry for being unoriginal, but he'd be one of the shorter price ones that I'm pretty keen on in the juvenile contest this week.
Yeah, he is a really imposing type, and albeit I do think his price is a little bit skinny, I think he's a very good horse. And if Outfielder was in here, Wesley Ward's runner, that's owned by Ammo Racing, was supposed to be in the Norfolk, but unfortunately he's been taken out due to a shin issue, then we might have got a price about Charles Darwin. But unfortunately, if you do like him, now you're taking skinny odds. We did see on Tuesday that Aidan won the Coventry with Gestalt, and Aidan was talking up Albert Einstein. But I'm interested to see how Charles Darwin and Albert Einstein compare. We won't obviously get to find out necessarily, but I think Aidan loves both of these horses. I'm going to go a little bit rogue in here and put up a horse at a big price, given Ross has already put up one at a shorter price in this race. And the horse in question for me is Sandal Song for George Weaver and Wathnan Racing, a recent recruit, one of many for Wathnan. James McDonald takes the ride on this horse. I thought the debut was really good down at Gulfstream. I know maybe you're watching this and you think, well, Tom's obviously got a US bias. I try not to, and I've taken on most US horses so far this week, and I'll take on all the others as well. But I do think this horse has a lot of talent. He has a European style of racing. Royal Ascot has always been the aim for him. The fact that Wathnan purchased him suggests that he's probably better than most of your standard US 2-year-olds. And I quite like the way he goes through his races. He's only going to improve from first and second start. And I think the straight track at Ascot may actually suit him, which isn't the case for 99% of US runners. So keep an eye out on Sandal Song. He's about 11-1. On to the King George V Stakes now at 3:05. This is the race that SBK has that 20% winnings boost on. And SBK goes 6-1 the favourite. It is very competitive. Serious Contender is your favourite, again, for Aidan O'Brien. Look, every race we talk about this week, Aidan's going to have a horse up there, and it just so happens he's got the 2 favourites to start the card on Thursday. Do you think this horse deserves top spot in the market?
I'm not sure, TC. I had a good look at him, and I found this really difficult, I have to admit. You just, time after time, you try and go away from them, don't you? And then you just keep getting reminded that he's just such a good operation. I couldn't make head nor tail, if I'm honest. I've had a bit of a swing at one at a big price. And he's a horse that gave me a heart attack actually last time. It's a horse called Mafting, who won a red car maiden over 10 furlongs last time. I was on racing TV pin duty, and I put him up. You have to put them in sort of early afternoon the day before, and he was a short price but not odds on, which is an absolute no-no. And he got absolutely smashed off the boards. Went on off odds on, which is a hiding to nothing. Because if he wins, of course he should win. And if he gets beat, of course you get the keyboard warriors coming out and telling you how useless you are. And he just about got it done, but he did it in the manner of a horse that hasn't yet learned to race. He had a very good look around everywhere, got to the front, seemed to me to prick his ears, was only ever just doing enough. He comes to a pretty competitive handicap for this handicap debut, so of course that is probably against him. But it just wouldn't surprise me to see him go through this race like a classy sort of horse. He's clearly got a big engine. He's going to be a huge double-figure price. I'll probably sit it out, but I will just have a little bit of loyalty money on him. Hope he can repay me for giving me a bit of a heart attack and a few extra grey hairs last time.
Yeah, Mafting then for Ross in what looks a very tricky race. I like middle to wide draws in this contest generally due to the fact that that first turn, it's not as sharp as a couple of these trips, but it is relatively soon in the race. Usually, then you'd anticipate a low draw would be a benefit because you obviously have that chance just to grab the rail immediately. However, in this race, I think a wide to a middle draw is actually handy. The horses on the inside generally let those out wide find their spots and allow them to have it, whereas the horses on the inside are just a hostage to fortune and they have to just take what they're given in terms of where they land in the race. Therefore, I was looking for a horse drawn 10 plus, and it just so happens that my selection Gunship is drawn in 10, so he just about qualifies for this. I actually would prefer if he was a little bit wider, but that's not the case. He is open to a lot of improvement, just 4 outings. Only one of those has come on turf, and I thought that run was really promising at Sandown, 2 starts back in April. He made up a lot of late ground from the back of the pack, and we know that Sandown is very much a front runner's track, especially middle distance races. So I thought Gunship was the horse that's open to the most potential, and he is around 10 to 1, so he'll be my play. The Ribblesdale is up next at 340. Trappy, again, I think that is the right word for this race. Paddy Toomey's Catalino del Carpio is your favourite, just holding sway over Serenity Prayer. These two horses have very similar profiles. One on their debut, finished second last time behind a good one. It's hard to separate them on that basis, but I know Paddy Toomey's got a lot of people who like him. His shrewdness doesn't go missed. Ross, can you help people solve this puzzle?
I was hoping you'd help me, TC. I've gone with Garden of Eden for a couple of reasons. Again, not great form reading, I have to say, but she's got plenty of experience. I like that against the two ahead of her in the market who are going to lack experience. And she looked fairly moderate. And then she won a listed contest last time. And I was just quite taken by the post-race comments. I think Ben Cohen rode for Aidan O'Brien on that occasion. And Aidan O'Brien was talking about by Saxon Warrior getting really good middle distance horses, and he'd been running her over the wrong trip. The step up in trip had improved her, and that he felt that stepping her up in trip to 1 mile and 4 might improve her again. And there you are, Bob's your uncle. She's in here over 1 mile and 4 in a race that I think doesn't look the deepest to me on sort of all known form. Of course, there could be a star that pops up. She's got loads of experience. She's from those connections that we keep talking about, and I make no apology for talking about them because they are, year on year the best operation at this meeting. If she does find that improvement, she's going to take a lot of beating.
Yeah, Garden of Eden there for Ross, who's around 6 to 1 at the time of recording, but that could vary by the time you're watching this. If Garden of Eden wins the Ribblesdale, there is a good chance that Aidan O'Brien could go 3 from 3 to start this card. That is if you like the first two jollies, but it's likely that he's going to get at least one on the board. Nothing for me in the Ribblesdale. I will sit this race out. No opinion whatsoever, unfortunately. We're going to move on to the Group 1 Ascot Gold Cup, one of the best races of the week in terms of its historical standpoint and status. Maybe it's not the strongest renewal this time around, purely because we have no Kyprios, unfortunately. He's been retired, and it would have been great to have seen him again. He won this race twice in the last 3 years. Instead, Aidan O'Brien, again, that man, is relying on a horse called Illinois, who is currently your 6 to 4 favourite. Aidan's won the race a lot in its history. Will he win it again?
Yeah, as we said on the preview pod, you have to respect his ability to transform these stoutly bred horses into cup horses. Of course, Illinois can go and do it, but he's going to have to go an awful lot further than he's gone before. I just thought Trawlerman had been sort of overlooked here. You say it's a slightly below par renewal because of the lack of Kyprios, and I think that's the key. Kyprios would be odds-on favourite for this. Trawlerman got to within a length of him last year. I'm yet to see any sign that he's not at that level this time around. I thought he's run well so far this season. We know he stays the trip. He'll handle the ground. So many of these in against him are priced up on potential for improving for the trip. He might not need to improve on what he did last year. In fact, I would be fairly certain he doesn't need to improve on what he did last year to go very close indeed. And if something then comes and beats him, so be it. I think he's a decent price, and I think he might just be the one for the boys in bright blue against the boys in navy blue.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with Trawlerman in here at 3 to 1. I think he's a very good bet, actually. He should go to the front. If he goes to the front, something's got to pass him. And in here, there aren't that many certain stayers. Sweet William is, but Trawlerman's proven in the past he's a better horse than Sweet William. Candelari could stay. We don't know. He looks like he will stay, but he definitely has to improve from a class perspective anyway. And then Illinois, he's going 5 furlongs further than he's ever gone before. And Trawlerman just seems the best and most solid bet in this race. If something beats him, as Ross said, then so be it. But he is solid. And at 3 to 1, I think he's a very fair play. He's one of my stronger fancies on day 3. Back into handicap company now for the Britannia at 5 p.m. 10 to 1 the field. How many darts are you having?
Just 2, TC. This is your bag, isn't it? I mean, over the jumps, I love the 2.5 mile handicap chase at likes of Cheltenham and Newbury and places like that. This is your bag. I'm going to have 2. The first be Afantico. I I think he just might improve for this stiffer test. I thought he went pretty well at Haydock last time, where he's given an awful lot to do, finished to really good effect. He gets a £3 pull with the winner for one length. He gets Warren Fentiman going on board, claims £5. Just the way he finished off this strongly run race, which it's almost certain to be, and the stiff finish should suit him. There is perhaps an argument that he would want a little bit more cut in the ground, but I think that's his stamina that suits him with cutting the ground. If they go hard, I think that will bring him into it. So I really liked him. And then the other one is Mr. Chaplin. They say you always remember your first, don't you? And he was my first nursery winner last year after a pretty dry period. He won at Goodwood and won in really good fashion. I was actually quite sweet on him. He was tried in higher grade of races after that and didn't quite cut the mustard, but I think he had excuses as well. Made his return back in handicap company at Goodwood last time, got a typical Goodwood sort of passage under Richard Kingscote, just kept finding trouble, couldn't really get going. I think he's quite a classy horse, and you'll remember we both actually picked up on the maiden that he won at Newbury. Thought it was going to be a really strong maiden. I think Jouncey was in there and a few others that have gone to do good things. I think he's quite a classy horse. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I think he'll stay the trip. I like him as well, but it's over to you because this is your thing.
Afantico 20-1, Mr. Chaplin 25-1 for Ross. I'll also have two darts at this. I'm going to start with a horse that's actually the bigger price of the pair that I like. And it's the Fingal Raven for the Osbornes again. If you watched yesterday's SBK Daily betting podcast, you'll know that both Ross and I both like Epictetus in these connections. And I'm hopeful that the Fingal Raven can provide them with another horse that could go close at a big price. This horse was always considered by Jamie to be really good, super talented. He just didn't really do it last year. He won once, he ran on testing ground and didn't suit and finished third. His two previous starts were disappointing. They then took him over to Meydan, and there was a whole string there, 3 races, where he produced very good efforts, but he's going to go under the radar because he was never nearer. That is the comment that he earned. Meydan just doesn't suit him at all, or his way of racing, but I think Ascot will. A stiff track where closers can come through and pick off those horses that do too much too soon. I think he's really smart, the Fingal Raven. He's a big price. He's 25-1. And what's more interesting, the horse that beat him last time was Ruling Court. Now, he ran okay, not great in the St James's Palace on Tuesday. But Ruling Court's obviously a Group 1 horse. And the Fingal Raven gets to run in this handicap off what looks like to be a pretty tasty mark. So I'm pretty sweet on him. I don't love the draw. I'd rather a higher post, but it's fine. The other horse that I like in here is for Saibin Saru, and that's Arabian Story. I don't really know what to make of him, which is kind of why I like him. He's a bit of a project. He's unexposed, had the 3 starts. All 3 of those have come on dirt or a synthetic surface. The first 2 at Meydan, he just took kickback and he hated it and just put straight lines through both of those. Form figures are 6-0. I don't make any of that. It's basically just a piece of work where things didn't go right. Then he went to Chelmsford and it was a really good display, beating a couple of nice types. He is a complete unknown. He's 14-1. Saibin Saru has done this before in these kind of Royal Ascot races, and it wouldn't surprise me if Arabian Story ran well for at a decent price from a big draw. So both of those 2 horses for me, I quite like the shape of this race, as Ross kind of alluded to. Hampton Court time next, the 5:35. This is the penultimate race on Thursday. Detain, third in the French Derby, is your current favourite in here. Ross, anything for you?
No, TC, I mean, as you might have guessed, I've been working pretty hard to find selections. There's nothing jumped off. I've sitting this one out. I toyed with the idea of Glittering Legend. If he could just transfer his all-weather form for a step up in trip for James Fanshawe, I think he's quite a talented horse, but I'd just be a bit worried about the really quick ground switching off the all-weather. So I'm gonna sit this one out because I was starting to get a headache by this stage.
Yeah, me too, to be fair. But we've still got another 2 days to go after this. Jackknife for me in this race, I found it very difficult. I thought Jackknife was a little bit interesting at around 17-2. Going up in trip should help him. That's my angle here. He's still raw, had the 2 outings. The debut was very impressive. And then last time, I thought he was just given too much to do at Sandown. Maybe he's got the room for improvement to progress and win this race, but no strong opinion in here either for myself. Finally, we're going to end with the Buckingham Palace Stakes. I have a strong opinion here, Ross. This is a 6:10. I really like English Oak. I understand his price doesn't represent that much value anymore. I am on anti-post. I did honestly bet him for the Royal Hunt Cup as well as this, so I've only got half my stake still going, but that was always going to be the case. He was only going to take up one engagement. 5-1 is skinny enough in a race with this big a field, but based on his success in this race last year, off £1 lower, I think he's way the horse to beat. Do you agree?
Yeah, I can see the angle, TC, and I was going to be with him, but as you know, I've handicapped him with my money on his last few runs. I've been with him, so because I'm such a good mate to you, I thought I'll leave him alone. I won't have a penny on him. Leave you to revel in the glory as he comes home, and I'll go with two at bigger prices. The first is a Ray, who won the Mill Reef back in 2023, which sounds quite impressive, doesn't it, winning the Group Two? But it was a terrible renewal of that race, run on heavy ground. But he did have a touch of class as a juvenile. He went missing, didn't run at all last season, returned at first and finished third. I thought that was a fairly promising run. And then it sort of went wrong last time. He fell out the stalls, never really got into position. I think you can put a line through that. He's into handicap company now. I think he's quite a talented horse. I think this triple suit, I think he won over 6 runs on heavy ground because of his stamina, not because of the ground. I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. So I thought he was quite interesting at a bit of a price. Another one who I've actually managed to land on the couple of times that he's won is Cerulean Bay for the Amara team. He's back on his last winning mark. He probably shaped better than the better result at Chester last time. He just could never really get into his gear at the right time and was probably left with a little bit of petrol in the tank at the end, finished fifth. And he's just the horse I really like. He always gives his running. They've run him in handicaps, run him in group races. He'll always try his best. He does his best work late on. I could see him finishing pretty strongly here, and he's a tough horse in a battle. So I always want to be with him. So he'd be my second one. But sounds like you've got the winner.
I hope so. I really do. I'm confident in English Oak. He would be one of my better, if not my best player of the whole week. So fingers crossed everything goes right for him. But if you are following Ross in on those two bigger priced picks, Array's 22-1, Cerulean Bay is 40-1. We've kind of given you everything on day three. Some long shots, some shorter price plays as well. Hopefully we'll have a successful day. My mind is still scrambled from Rosallion on day one, but there we go. Ross, as per every podcast this week, we've got to provide a multiple to fit with SBK's 20% racing multiples boost offer that they have this week. I'm going to chuck in Trawlerman in the Gold Cup. I know we both like him, and English Oak, who we've just talked about. Who do you want to add?
We'll go a bit shorter, TC, this time. We'll go Charles Darwin in the first in the Norfolk, and then Garden of Eden for the Aidan O'Brien double.
Perfect. Two Aidan O'Brien horses there for Ross to add to my couple there. 400-1, I'm told, for the ACCA. If you like, if you want to follow us in on that, whether it be a win ACCA or each way ACCA, but hopefully all four run well. As well as the two boost offers that I've mentioned at the top of the show and just then, SBK also has a new customer offer. Sign up, bet £10, and you'll get £40 in free bets. T's and C's do apply. Go and check out the SBK app for all other promotions and the promotions already talked about in this podcast. And on there, you can also listen to our horse racing pods in the horse racing page. As I say, hopefully plenty of winners or at least some places at some big prices on Thursday. Best of luck with whoever you like. Do whack a comment below as well, just to tell us if you're enjoying the podcast. Don't say if you don't like them, please. And also with horses you fancy on Thursday. Give us a like, subscribe to SBK down below. We'll see you again tomorrow when we preview day 4.